All right, welcome to Truly Live episode 20. We'll be back with you in a moment.
Truly, the real you loves you. 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 Truly.
All right. Truly, truly, the real you loves you because the real you, she can't speak tonight, y'all. The real you is love. And are you going to get into the picture tonight? Welcome everyone out there in these social media communities to your Friday night episode of Truly Live with co-host and co-founders Oliver and I'm going to have to speak for her tonight, you guys. Oliver and Yolanda Blue, and we are the OK Blues, and we're so excited to be here tonight for a new edition of Truly Live. So sit back and relax, enjoy. Hopefully you've got your favorite blanket, your favorite beverage, a comfortable chair, and it's going to be an hour of just relaxation, information, good information, inspiration, transformation, and empowerment. That's our reason for being here. And we're so happy that you are here with us tonight. So if you, because you are, not if you, but because you are out there viewing this live with us, we'd love for you to just put in the comment field or the chat. Just let us know your name and just kind of where you're viewing us from. And we love to interact with you tonight. This is a very two-way conversation that we like to have on this talk show. And so we love to engage the viewers. And so just let us know that you're out there and we'll give you a shout out tonight. All right. So my wife tonight will be a little quiet, a little mute, if I might say. I got the mute button on her tonight. Well, let me just go ahead and tell the truth. Well, we have this grandiose, wonderful 18-month grandson that we visit periodically. And we had grandson duty last weekend. And of course, he had the runny nose and the sniffles and somewhat of a fever, the normal childhood coughs and colds that they share with each other. And after 3 days of being with him, we got back home. My wife, for some reason, she packed up some of that and brought it with her. And she's in full-blown recovery right now and having a little bout with, what do you call it, laryngitis. So she has a little to no voice. But I told her, I insist on her sitting her pretty little self up here on this stage tonight beside me And if for no other reason than for me to look at her, for you guys to look at her, for us to have add her vibration to this show, because she is a co-founder and a co-host, and I wouldn't have it any other way, dear. So she's going to be working the chats for us tonight, the comment field. So engage her, give her something to do, and she'll be whispering sweet things in my ear, because she just talks at a whisper at this point. But anyway, the show must go on, right? All right. Hope you guys have had a great week out there. If we're in North Carolina, and it is, we have been experiencing what they call Indian summer, because it has been very unseasonable warm temperatures. The golfers are just elated. I've actually been out for two different uh, rounds of golf myself this week, and you don't normally get these 70, almost 80-degree weathers in December here in North Carolina, but obviously there's a change in our weather pattern. And as long as the weather patterns are calm and peaceful, we're okay with it. We don't need storms. We don't need hurricanes. We don't need tornadoes. None of those disruptive uh, weather fronts. So anyway, hope you're safe where you are. Uh, we do send a special uh, prayer out to those who were negatively affected by the storm that went through the central part of the U.S. on last weekend. Um, I think the death toll is up over 70, and there are still people that are missing. So we pray for those families out there, and we thank everyone who has made a decision to get involved at some level to assist in their recovery. We also like to give a special shout out tonight, since we're doing shout outs. We'd also like to give a special shout out tonight to our patrons. And we like to say, hello, patrons. Thank you so much for partnering with us and supporting us and believing in us and believing in this work that we are doing, and helping us to create the content and to get this work out into the lives of people where it can be beneficial to them. Also like to give a special shout out to Lisa Natoli for being our first guest on our broadcast last Friday. Thank you so much, Lisa. Uh, the responses were wonderful, and Lisa's going to be a regular on our show in 2022. So, and she's especially going to spend some quality bonus time with our patrons. So you want to consider being a patron of our show, and because that's where there's even more value to what we're putting out here. And so consider being a patron. We'll give you some detail on how you become a patron of Truly Live at the end of the show. Also like to give a shout out to all those who graduated in the fall, 2021 graduates that's been happening for the last 2 weekends, I believe. And a special shout out to our niece, Erica Walker, who graduated. And we're so happy for her. And we've been celebrating this week with her. And what a great accomplishment for Erica. We love you. Thank you, Erica. And thank you to all the graduates for fall 2021. Congratulations. Yes. I also like to give a special shout out to our daughter, Kristen. Uh, it is the Christmas season, and she is a retail, what do you call them? Retail. Her whole adult life has been in the retail market, and so this time of year, she's really, really spreading herself with extra hours and working, and so we just give a shout out to her to let her know we're thinking about her. All right. Yes. If this is your first time being with us, and you might be asking the question, well, what is Truly Live all about? Right here. My phone is there. I'm going to put it here for you, and I'm going to put my face in it so it opens up. And there's my phone right there. All right. All right. So, um, okay, I'm gonna have to get to it. Hang on one second. I don't know why it's not coming up, but it should be. There it is. And hit comments. All right. So Yolanda's going to manage the comment field for us tonight. And all right. So we see already. Like to say hello to one of our great friends, Sue Slevko. Hey, Sue. And thank you for joining us tonight. Also want to say hello to one of my wife besties, Sheila Blue, who's also my sister in love. And hello, Sheila. Thank you for joining us tonight. We feel your presence. Sue, we feel your presence. It's going to be a great night as we uh, adventure down this road tonight. But if it's your first time being with us, you may ask the question, what's Truly Live all about? Well, Yolanda and I are certified. Yeah, Yolanda and I are certified coaches, and we have our own personal development company called Truly OB. And this broadcast is an extension of our coaching business. So we use this as a way to share our principles, universal principles, because our coaching business is principle centered, meaning that we teach universal principles that are um, timeless, and they have always worked and they will always work. And um, it's our goal, number one, is to help people to come into an awareness of their true self. We call it the real you. And secondly, we is our also goal is to inspire everyone to um, move into the direction of a dream or a life that you would love to live. And so we're here sharing with you principles and best practices that you can consider to design a life as well as to live a life that you would love to live. And so that's why we share these episodes of Truly Live on each Friday at 7 p.m. And a lot of the principles that we're sharing with you and a lot of the information that we share with you is what we practice in our coaching practice. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I get Miss Yolanda to turn the silence off on that phone there. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't work, right? Well, anyway, we want to move to our next segment. We always like to start out whatever we do. If we're getting ready to, you know, to have some type of any type of activity or event, we always like to start it out um, by sharing uh, gratitude, and because we understand from our training as well as from our experience that gratitude is a very powerful way to move energy. It's the most powerful way to set a vibration or to set the tone. And basically, at its root, gratitude is basically being thankful for everything, being grateful and thankful for it all. And so uh, tonight, I'm just grateful for the fact that even though we had some challenges this week, you've had some challenges this week, we're still here. We're here, like we made our commitment to be here each Friday at 7 p.m. and you are here, and so we're grateful for that. And if I could speak for Yolanda, I would say that she's just happy as well as grateful, just for life itself. And we value our time here on the planet, and we're grateful for every opportunity that we're able to express our gratitude and express love and joy and peace, which we are committed to. All right. So if you're out there and if you have something that you'd like to share with us that you're grateful for, happy for, grateful for, just put it in the comments. We'd like to share it with the viewers. All right. So we're gonna keep moving right along, and tonight we want to share with you, uh, like we always do. This segment is called our inspiration and encouragement segment, where we share with you something from uh, the universe that has been spoken or said that can inspire all of us to be our best self. And so tonight's quote actually is coming from one of my favorite people on the planet. And also, we're going to feature his book tonight in this episode. So, tonight's um, inspiration and encouragement quote comes from um, this book. We'll go ahead and name the book, show you the book. Book's called Being Myself, and the author is Rupert Spira. Rupert Spira, and this quote is coming directly from this book, and it is very relevant to our subject for tonight. And it goes like this. It says, the knowledge of our own being, the knowledge of our own being, its knowledge of itself, is not only the most profound knowledge possible, but also the most precious. It is the source of peace and happiness for which we long above all else, and the foundation for the resolution of all conflict. And that's by author and uh, teacher, spiritual teacher, Rupert Spira. And that is great insight. And want to again acknowledge this series. He's writing a series of book called the Essence of Meditation series, and this is his second book in that series, and it's called Being Myself by Rupert Spira. And Yolanda has shared that with you guys out in the chat. Highly recommend you putting this in your inventory. It is a great read. It's a short read. I think it's less than 100 pages. It's about 120 pages, but it is each word, each sentence is power packed with what I think is some of the most insightful um, sharing that can be helpful to all of us. All right. And before we move into our Truly Life lesson tonight, I'm still trying to figure out how can I bring you into this conversation and you're voiceless. She said, I cannot. But anyway, we're just holding a space for you, and knowing that this is only temporary. Yes. And actually, anytime that the body goes through these, what we call them, we don't call it sickness, we call it healing crisis. A lot of time that happens because there are things within our system that needs to what? It needs to get out. And a lot of times, it chooses to exit the body in a way that is not comfortable to us. They call them cold, flus, fevers, those types of things. And so even in the midst of that, we maintain our peace. We maintain our joy. And I can't wait till you get your voice back. All right. And I'm sure the viewers feel the same way. Oh, do I? Oh, wow. I'm glad they didn't hear that. I got it. All right. I didn't. Hang on. I'm going to take a little swallow. My wife said I left some of my salad in my teeth. I had a little salad right before we came on. All right. All right. Well, that's what happened when you go live. You have to be bold, and you can't have no shame, right? Well, tonight, as we move on into our lesson for tonight, and also wanted to acknowledge Who else is out there? Yeah, let's see if we got any. All right, we'd like to acknowledge Sheila Monroe Johnson, who's out here watching with us. Hello, Sheila. Thank you for joining us. And also like to share that Sue says that I'm grateful for the two of you and my time spent at the beach this past week. All right, Sue. Yeah, we noticed and we saw some of the pictures that you shared on your social page, and we were happy to see that you got to spend some quality time uh, with your son. Really enjoyed looking at the pictures. Sheila said, I'm happy and grateful for an attentive husband and partner. Oh, wow. That's my brother. Well, that is my brother because he is he's attentive and he's what? He's attentive. Okay, yes. My brother Cecil is very attentive. All right. You heard that, Cecil. All right. Sheila says, hello, always grateful to be with you. And Sheila, the same. The feeling is mutual. Thank you for blessing us with your presence. And I think we're all going to be blessed tonight by the subject matter, the content, and we're going to get right into it. Remember back in the first week in December, we said that we're going to dedicate the whole month of December uh, to the subject of peace and goodwill. And we all know historically that 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 statement was heralded by a group of so-called angels many years ago, announcing this great entry of the birth of a king. What they said back in those days, but it was said uh, by those angels that uh, as a result of what was happening, that they said above all else, that on earth peace and goodwill was towards all men, and this event was symbolic of peace and goodwill entering into the world to be a blessing to all of humanity. And so we decided to take that as a theme, being it's Christmas season. Oh, we didn't even mention anything about it being Christmas, have we? Season, yeah, not really, but hopefully you guys are, everybody has their own tradition about Christmas and the way that they celebrate or don't celebrate. Doesn't matter. That's your decision. But whatever you're doing this time of the year, uh, just do it in peace and love, and be a blessing to others. So tonight we want to talk a little bit about peace from a perspective that is maybe not be customary, but just from our learning and from our own experience, we have come to know uh, peace in a way that has been transformative to us. And I like to share, um, first of all, that there was a survey taken of the top 8 things people desperately desired for, but couldn't seem to attain it. So this survey was taken by Kathy Capino, and it was published in Forbes magazine. And the results of the survey, which was asking what are the top 8 things in your life that you desperately desire, and she got responses from 771 people in that survey. And out of that 771 people, the top responses in that survey was peace. Number one, it was happiness, money, freedom, peace, joy, balance, fulfillment, and confidence. So if there's any other uh, thing you would like to add to that list, if you was asked that question, what's the top 8 things that you desire in life? Does it include these 8 things? Happiness, money, freedom, peace, joy, balance, fulfillment, confidence. Okay. All right. She's going to exit the stage here, work on that cough. But anyway, what we found out in not only in this survey, but in other surveys that are taken, that peace is normally one of the top two things that humans desire in life is peace. Everybody wants peace. And it all and it always seemed as though, like she stated in her survey, that these are desperate desires that people have but can't seem to obtain them. Again, the top two items that are normally listed are peace and happiness. Peace and happiness, generally the top two items that people desire, but it seems to be unattainable or not being able to sustain peace and happiness. And why is that? That's a good question. Why is it that we desire peace and happiness? And my response to that would be, from my learning and from my experience, is the reason that we desire peace and happiness is because peace and happiness is at the nature, or is the essential nature of who we are. Let me say that again. Peace and happiness is very essential to our very nature. It's very essential to our true self, our true identity. I would say that if we could reduce or strip ourselves down to our very core nature. In other words, if we could for a moment, if we could get rid of the body, if we could get rid of our thoughts, if we could get rid of our experiences, if we could get rid of our history, if we could be removed from everything, even our birth, if we could be removed from all of the activities and experiences of life, what would be left of us? What would be left of you? Ask yourself that question. What would be left? What would be the essential core nature of a bodiless self, a thoughtless self, a self without history, without activity, without family? If we were stripped down to our very naked nature, what would be there? I said it would be peace. I say that it would be happiness. I say that it would be joy. I say it would be love. If we go back to the quote that we share with you, yeah, I mentioned love. Yeah, Sheila says your love. I said, at our essential nature, we are love, we are joy, we are peace, we are happiness. That's who we are. That's my experience of life in this moment in my life. That is the essence of who I am. Separate and apart from my body self, my mental self, my historical self, my conditioned self. At the core of who I am, that which never leaves, that which doesn't come and go. That's who I am. And I believe that's who all humanity is. Sue said pure love. Yes, Sue. But if we go back to the quote, Rupert says, the knowledge of our own being, its knowledge of itself. In other words, when we know ourself, our own being, it said, is not only the most profound knowledge possible, but it's also the most precious. So the most profound knowledge is the knowing of oneself as love, joy, peace, happiness. That's our essential self. All the other activities, all the other elements of life experience, our activities of our lives, our thought life, our feelings, our emotions, our sensation, our history, all these things come and go. They're not stable. But what is always there, what's always present, what's always stable is the love that we are, is the peace that we are, is the joy that we are, and it's the happiness that we are. And so you guys been that are listening to us tonight, most of you have probably inquired about your own nature, your own true self. I'm sure if you're watching Truly Live, there's an element of our viewership that that's on some type of journey or path of self-discovery. And so when Rupert talks about the knowing of yourself is the most precious knowledge one can have. It is the most profound knowledge that one can have. Why? He said, because it is the source of peace and happiness for which we long above all else. Remember, I said the top two things on most surveys when people are asked, what do you desire above all things? Peace and happiness. Why is that? Because intrinsic in all of us is peace and happiness. It's our nature. So we're always desiring to experience our very nature. All created things desire to experience itself. All living things desire to experience itself. And so that makes good sense of why there is this it's been all the way down through history. Mankind has sought for peace and happiness, to have the direct experience of it, because it comes bubbling up from our very nature to have the experience of it. And so Rupert said, it is the source of peace and happiness for which we long above all else, and it's the foundation for the resolution of all conflict. Oh my God. You say that again. He says that the knowing of yourself as peace and happiness is the foundation for the resolution for all conflict. So what he's saying is that the answer to all the conflict in the world, the answer to all the troubles in the world, is the knowing of yourself as peace and happiness. Because once that precious knowledge is directly experienced, and I'm talking from experience here in my own life, and if Yolanda was able to speak tonight, she would share the same thing from her own experience. She would. The knowing of your true self. That's one reason we branded our work in the world as the real you. Truly, the real you loves you. Because we know from our own experience and from our own learning that to know your essential self is the most important thing in life to know. It's the most precious, like you said, the most precious, the most profound knowledge that one can have is the knowing of himself. There was an ancient wise wisdom teacher that said, and I think he's unknown, whoever made the statement, he says, to know thyself, or know thyself. Why? Now we understand why that statement is so profound and so important, because it is the knowing of ourselves is the way we have a direct experience with our true nature, which is peace and happiness. And so Now, when we look back on why the angels may have said, peace on earth, peace and goodwill to all men, basically was making a proclamation is that the knowing of the self, the knowing of humanity is being revealed or being made known through this event that was taking place uh, in the birth of Christ. I call it the birth of Christ consciousness, because what we're really happening is that the awareness of humanity of what their true identity is was being revealed, not only through that particular life, but that revelation now is available to all humanity, that we all can come to know our true self, because it is, again, in the knowing of the self, in the knowing of the self, that we experience true peace and true happiness. Wow, I wish you could engage with me in this conversation tonight, because I know there's a lot you want to share. But this is a great subject, and I love it. And if you look at the history of humanity, we've spent a tremendous amount of time, and you've probably gone through it in your own personal life, seeking for true happiness and true peace outside of ourselves. We're searching for it in places where it doesn't exist. Because have you ever been looking for your keys to your house or your keys to your car, and you couldn't find them? Why? Then you discovered they were what? In your pocket. You already had them. But you were looking outside of yourself for the keys that was already present. That's a good analogy of how humanity has spent years and decades. There's a tremendous record that shows that people have searched for peace and happiness in so many different ways, in so many different places, and in so many different activities, trying to find peace and happiness, while all the time it was already present, because that peace and that happiness is who we are. You want to share something here? Sheila Monroe Johnson. Okay, knowing yourself means not being identified with your physical body or your thoughts. Yes. Oh, yes, Sheila, I like that. That is true, because we are not a body. Most people identify with the body as their self, but we're not a body. Body is only temporary. It's only a requirement to be here in this time-space continuum. If you wasn't here in this time-space continuum, you wouldn't need a body. But to be in this dimension of life, it requires a physical body. Just like Yolanda and I are on the second floor of our home, and our car is downstairs in the garage, right? We have a car, but our car is not who we are. Likewise, these physical bodies that we're in, they are not who we are. It's just the suits that we are required to have in order to live in this dimension. So that's not who we are. Because when we identify ourselves as being this temporary body, which has a birth date and an expiration date, and if that's all we know ourselves to be, how depressing is that? How depressing is that? And a lot of people are in depression because they only know themselves as a body identification. And that's very depressing. To think that, you're born and maybe at most 100 years, you're going to expire. That's going to be the end of yourself. That's very depressing. But there is a knowing of yourself that is beyond this physical body. There's a knowing of yourself that is beyond the thoughts that we experience, beyond the sensations that we feel, beyond the emotions and the feelings, the activities that we participate in. We are born into this world. We're born into a family. We have relationships. We are taught, how to function in life. We're conditioned by someone's idea of what life is and should be and experiences, and we're taught, and then we're matured and we grow up. And then we all get to a point in our life where we call ourselves grown because we're able to make our own decision. And so on this quest of life where we are now trying to, uh, you know, understand what it's all about, we all get to a point where we realize that, uh, life got to be more than about my birth and my physical death. It's got to be more than that. And then we begin to have this inward pull where we want to come to know ourselves beyond just the physical body, because we're more than that. We're more than that, much more than that. And so then we get on this journey of self-discovery, and then the universe begin to move people into your life, or books into your life, or what, it comes in different forms where your yearning to know yourself actually attracts to you some understanding and awareness that you didn't have. It's called inspiration. You get inspiration, revelation comes to you, and comes to us in different forms. Some people, most of us, if we're raised in religion, one particular a traditional religion, then or organized religion, we normally turn to that when we become adults, when we have this insatiable desire to know ourselves, or to know more about what's real and what's not. And but this awareness of who we really are can come in many different forms. Can't be closed. We did a series a few weeks back on openness. To be open is the prerequisite to coming to know thyself. So yes, exactly. We are not our thoughts. We're not our activities. We're not our social security number. We're not our body. We're not the objects of our experiences. We're much, much more than that. We are at the core of us, and all of us know it because eternity is part of our nature. At the core of us, we are eternal beings. We always have been. We always will be. We always have existed. We always will exist. And at the nature of that, at the core of that existence, is peace and happiness and joy and love. They are the what? Yolanda called them the gifts. I call them our essential self. So yes, Sheila, you're exactly right. We are much more than our experience. Yes. And I'd like to recognize Barbara Swan, who's come into this space tonight. Hello, Barbara. Thank you for joining Yolanda and I. And Brooks is watching also. And y'all probably wondering why Yolanda's not speaking. And we share with you guys at the beginning of the broadcast that she's recovering from some cold and flu symptoms. She's got a little case of laryngitis, so she's a little on the quiet side tonight. But I insisted on her being here with me tonight so that we could, so I could at least be inspired by her presence. All right. So let me give you another example. We got any more comments up there you want to bring? Okay, Sue said, it only takes a little willingness to know thyself. You're exactly right. It only takes a little willingness. Because the knowing of yourself, or the knowing of ourselves, is so simple and so much a part of life. And it's almost like we came here to get here, to be in this time-space continuum. It's almost like we forgot who we were. You forget your eternal self. You forget your true nature in order to come into this time, into this dimension of life, only to now be in search, or to seek to find your true nature. And oh wow, Catherine Green, Blue, says hello to the Blue family and that I am. That's my mother. She's on. Hey, mother. All right. And so, yeah, so when we talk about, again, it was a great discovery for us. When Yolanda and I discovered many years ago through our own journey, wanting to know what's real, what's true, what's essential, what's our purpose for being here. And it came to us through many different ways, many different forms, but we were open. We were open because we wanted to know. We did not want to get to the end of life only to discover that we had not lived. But we wanted to be like it was mentioned by the author, what was his name? Said he wanted to suck all the marrow out of life. Henry David Thoreau. We was like Henry David Thoreau. We wanted to know what life was really, truly about so that we could suck all the marrow out of it. And we've come to discover that life is about experiencing yourself as true joy, true love, true peace, and true happiness. Sue also said, I forget every day, but then I choose again. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because um, the knowing of yourself is not our mental thoughts. A lot of times we feel like we keep vacillating back and forth because our thought life or our mind sometimes get so focused on the things in this world that are fleeting, the things in this world that are traumatic and kind of right in our face. You know, all of the vision, all of the division, all of this um, um, bad things that we see in terms of how human beings are relating to one another, like as though we are really true enemies, that we're not all of the same essence, that we're not all of the same breath, that we don't all share the same life, which we do, that we don't all share the same blood. And so we see the madness or the insanity out in the world, and we can sometime in our humanity, we can get caught up into what's going on into the world that appears to be so contrary to peace and love and joy and happiness. And we ask ourselves, well, if that's who we are, why are we behaving in such a way? because, because there was a time in my life that I didn't know who I was. And I didn't understand my true nature. And so, I lived in a mindset that I had to defend myself and that there was division and separation. And I saw and perceived uh, other people in not so good ways. And that because of my lack of understanding. But when I came to know my true self and to understand that that true self, that being, is a shared self, even though we have individual lives, even though there's 7.8 billion people on the planet, there's only one being. There's only one being, and we share that one being. There's only one breath. We all share the one breath. There's only one blood. We all share the one blood. There's only the one love, and we all share that one love. But without the knowledge of that, like Rupert said, without the knowing of that, I mean, we can reduce our living down to almost animals or savage. We see some of the extreme hatred and division and destruction that is reported every day, every week in this world. People killing each other, people doing all kinds of things to destroy life and don't put a lot of value on life. And that's because if they don't know the self, they don't know who they are. And so when you don't know who you are, then everything becomes an enemy. You don't know who you are, everything becomes in competition. I mean, we live in a world that is fueled by competition. Why? Because there's this belief that we're all separate, that we're not one, that we don't share this same being, but we're individuated beings, and that we have to all fend for ourselves. So again, I go back to the quote from Rupert Spira that says that the knowing of yourself is the most profound knowledge that a person can know, and it's also the most precious. Why? Because in the knowing of that self in your life, you can experience that. You can have a direct experience of that love, that joy, that peace that we've been talking about here tonight. And so we're here this we're here this month, the month of December, have chose this particular subject because generally this time of year people they're more a little more come a little more soft, a little more open to being what I guess you call being nice, being kind, being considerate. Um, but it's all based on, it's a temporary, event or activity or the season. But it doesn't have to be that way. When you come to know the truth about yourself, then everything you do would be done out of joy and out of love and out of happiness. And so it would influence our activities and how we treat ourselves and how we treat each other. Yolanda gave us a note. A lack of understanding myself caused me to not see others as they truly are. It causes me to not see others as they truly are, and that's so true. That's why the knowing of yourself again is so profound. It's the most precious knowing that one can have because it causes you to perceive rightly. It causes you to see others as you see yourself because you realize that we all share this one being. And if we share this one being, then for me to hurt someone else is to hurt myself. when we realize that because we do share this one being, what you will have for your brother, you will have for yourself. And no one gets off this planet without that balancing it out in one's life. That balance seems to somehow come to a place of settling up before we leave here. I mean, some people look like they're getting away with murder or getting away with, with whatever, but you can believe me that from my time here on the planet and even in my own personal experience, it gets balanced, it gets settled up. And so until we learn the lesson. What lesson? The lesson of who we are and who our brother is, and that we all one, and that we all share this this divine nature of oneness and this divine nature of love and peace and happiness. All right. So our time is up, and we're going to stop the conversation there, but we're going to continue talking this month about peace and well-being. Hello, Naomi. Thank you for joining us tonight. And we're glad that you're here, Naomi. And what we're going to do right now is just want to share that what we have coming up on our future episodes is in January, we're going to be having a tax expert on with us. We'll have our second guest. And in February, we're going to have a good friend of ours and a very, very seasoned yoga instructor that's going to come on and share with us how we can use his brand of yoga, which is called Vita Yoga, in order to increase our mobility. Uh, and also, there's an element of peace that he teaches in his yoga. So, looking forward to those next two guests. And our goal is to have a guest each month in 2022. So, stay with us. We're going to be bringing some valuable people into this space with some very good information that can help all of us. And also, our guests, some of our guests will be hanging out backstage with our patrons for some extra content and some personal time that they will get because of the fact that they support Truly Live. And again, we encourage you, if you love the content of this broadcast, if you if this broadcast has value to your life, we ask you to consider becoming a patron of Truly Live and supporting us to help us to produce this content and to get it distributed throughout the global world. And that's why we're on these different platforms, is because we want to make this information, which we believe is life changing, available, transforming, available to everyone that desire to know themselves. And for only $6 a month or $72 a year, you can be a general patron, or you can sign up as a VIP patron for $20 a month or $240 a year, which will give you some additional extra benefits. So you can become a patron, sign up, and subscribe by going to www.patreon.com/truly live. All right. So we're going to end tonight like we always do. And we always like to send out a blessing to our viewers and to all of humanity. And we love this meditation that was given to mankind by none other than the Dalai Lama. And we like to share that with you tonight, our way of sending a closing blessing to you for being here with us. And this is called the loving kindness meditation. And Yolanda and I normally, we normally do this together, but I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to eat the whole pie tonight. So we bless all who joined us and those you hold dear in your heart. And we say, may you be truly happy. May you live in peace. May you live in love. May you know the power of forgiveness. And may you live in the recognition that your life has deep meaning and good purpose. And that's the Dalai Lama meditation. And we always like to add, may you live in the awareness of who you truly are in God. We extend this blessing to every being on the planet. And we'd like to thank you tonight for listening and being here with us. And we look forward to you joining us on future broadcasts. And we wish you guys, in fact, actually, we will be broadcasting live on Christmas and New Year's Eve. So we will be here next Friday night, New Year's Eve. And so come join us. Yes, it is. I mean, Christmas Eve. Next Friday night is Christmas Eve. So come join us Christmas Eve. We're going to be here talking about peace and goodwill. And you don't want to miss it. So we like to always end by saying, truly the real you loves you. And my name is Oliver.
I'm Yolanda.
And we're the OK Blues. Thank you and bye-bye.